Good morning, students. I hope you all are very well. So, today let's start with history, chapter number 4, and the name of this chapter is the Mughal Empire. Students, we will cover this chapter in two parts. In first part, we will study till the Akbar's era, and in part 2, we will study from after Akbar's era. Okay, so without any delay, let's start with this chapter. Let's talk about an introduction. We, as you know, the Mughal Empire was established by Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur, or we know him by the name the Babur. He was connected with Temur, which means he was having some connection with Temur, and the Temur was the ruler of Iran, Iraq, and Turkey. On the father's side, and Genghis Khan, he was the ruler of Mongol tribe on his mother's side. If we talk about Babur's connection, from father's side, he was connected to Temur, who was the ruler of Iran, Iraq, and Turkey. And from mother's side, he was connected with or having relations with Genghis Khan, who was the ruler of Mongol tribes. Okay, Babur Trimut prince of the fourth generation. Babur established the Mughal dynasty in India. Okay, Ibrahim Lodhi was the ruler of Delhi from 1517 to 1526. Daulat Khan Lodhi, he was one of the governor of Ibrahim Lodi. He invited Babur to invade in India. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about Babur reign from 1526 to 1530 AD. Okay, Babur Babur invaded in India, he defeated Ibrahim Lodi in the Battle of Panipat in 1526. The most powerful chieftain whom Babur had yet to fight was Rana Sanga of Mewar. It means that Rana Sanga, he was the most powerful king of that time who Babur had to face. Okay, and Rana Sanga belongs to Mewar. The victory of Khanwa, a village near Agra in 1527, gave Babur complete control over central India. Babur won at Khanwa. It was a village near Agra in 1527, and with this victory, Babur got the complete control over the central of India. And with this, the Rajput power or the Rajput kings were weakened. Means they were having or their power was getting low day by day. And Babur has defeated the combined force or the together force of Bengal and Bihar in 1529. And if we talk about the extension of Babur's empire, his empire was extended from Afghanistan in east to Afghanistan in west to Bihar in east. So large empire. Babur died in 1530, and he also wrote his book Tuzuk-i-Baburi, which was his autobiography. Okay, let's move forward. Humayun. He ruled from 1530 to 1540 and 1555 to 1556 for almost 11 years. If we talk about the establishing of empire, then the King Humayun has to face difficult tasks, or it was not easy for King Humayun to establish the empire. The rulers and the masters considered Mughals as foreigners, and the rulers means as these Mughals were foreigners or they came outside from India. The resident of India or the rulers and the people of India, they consider or they think that Mughals were foreigners as they came from outside India and they were fricious or they were many or there are very bad persons. Humayun kingdom was surrounded by several hostile powers. Means that if we talk about the kingdoms of Humayun, then it was surrounded by many hostile powers. Means it was imagine that Humayun's kingdom was in center and it was surrounded by many such powers who were willing to capture the throne. And these power were Afghan chief Sher Shah, second Bahadur Shah, who was then the ruler of Gujarat, and they were with their brothers Kamran, Hindal, and Askari. Hindal's treachery enabled Sher Shah Suri, the Afghan chief of Chunar, to defeat Humayun force in Chausa in 1539. Hindal's treachery enabled means the thinking and the working of Hindal's. It enabled or it helped Sher Shah Suri, who was the Afghan chief of Chunar, and with the help of Hindal's thinking and Hindal's working, Sher Shah Suri has defeated Humayun forces in Chausa in 1539. The entire Mughal empire was lost to Afghans. Means the entire Mughal empire was being surrendered in front of Afghans. And Humayun wandered from place to place. Means Humayun went from place to place, and although he recaptured Delhi in 1555 AD, but he died in the very next year. Okay, the Suri Sultanate, which we talk about the Sher Shah Suri, and when the Sher Shah Suri ascended the throne, means when Sher Shah Suri, when he became the king, he was 67 years old, and the original name was Farid. He has been given title of Sher Shah because once he killed tiger. The original name of Sher Shah Suri was Farid, and he got the name Sher Shah because once he killed a tiger. During his tenure of rule, during his rule, he had won or conquered Malwa, Rajasthan, and Sindh. And after this win, he had laid the foundation or he has started a very strong administration system of his sultanate. He died in May 1545 with a powder explosion. His tomb is in Sasaram in Bihar. Sher Shah Suri died due to gunpowder explosion in 1545, and we can see his tomb in Sasaram, Bihar. And after the death of Sher Shah Suri, his son Islam Shah, 1545 to 1544, he ruled during this time, and he died in 1554. And after the death of Islam Shah, there was a war between various rulers to capture the throne. And taking the advantage of this war, in 1555, King Humayun recaptured and re-established the Mughal rule in India in 1555. Humayun did not live long to consolidate his power. It means Humayun did not live very long to sustain his power, and in 1556 he died from a fall from his library building in Delhi, and he has died in 1556 as he fall from the library building in Delhi. So now let's talk about the Akbar's reign. Means the Akbar rule period which started from 1556 to 1605 AD. Akbar was only 13 years of age when he sat on the throne or when he became the emperor. During his 50 years of rule or during his time period of rule, he proved himself as a worth king of a great country. I mean, he proved himself as a good king of this country. Bairam Khan was a trusted friend of Humayun, and if we talk about Bairam Khan, he was a trusted friend of Humayun and the tutor or the teacher of Akbar, and he looked after the kingdom till 1560 with Akbar. When Akbar grew up, when Akbar became older, he wanted to take reins of administration in his own hands. When Akbar grew older, he took the administration of the kingdom in his own hands and sent or persuaded Bairam Khan to go on the pilgrimage of Makkah. On his way to Makkah, Behram Khan was looted by Afghans in Gujarat. Okay, let's take a brief again. Akbar's reign or Akbar rule period, which started from 1556 to 1605 AD. He was only 13 years of age when he became the emperor. Okay, during his 50 years of rule, he proved himself as a good ruler of this country. Behram Khan, who was a trusted friend of Humayun and also the tutor or the teacher of Akbar, he looked after the kingdom till 1560, and when Akbar grew older, he took the administration of, of the kingdom in his own hand and sent Behram Khan on pilgrimage of Makkah. And during his way to Mecca, Behram Khan was looted by Afghans in Gujarat. Okay, let's move forward. Conquest or the winning of Akbar. Malwa was conquered in 1560, and in 1564 Akbar attacked Gondwana, where the brave Rani Durgavati resisted the Mughal force, but she was defeated. If we talk about the various Akbar win, first he won Malwa in 1560 and he attacked Gondwana in 1564, where he was resisted by the brave Rani Durgavati, but eventually she was defeated. Okay, Akbar wanted to expand his kingdom, means Akbar wanted that his kingdom should be should grow, and he wanted peace and order in his kingdom. He established friendly relation with brave Rajput. He know that Rajputs were brave, so he established friendly terms with brave Rajput. He also married a number of Rajput princes, and due to friendly relation with Akbar, there were many Rajput who was holding important administration post in Akbar's administration. Rana Uday Singh and Rana Pratap challenged Akbar's might. Means there were two Rajput rulers, first Rana Uday Singh and second Rana Pratap. They challenged the Akbar's rule, and meantime Akbar proceeded towards Chittor in 1567. Maharana Pratap was a great warrior and a great king, although he was defeated in the Battle of Haldighati in 1576. But he continued to battle or he continued to fight till the next 20 years, and eventually he got to his death in 1597. He became the symbol of Rajput bravery and love of freedom. And Maharana Pratap, he was a symbol of bravery for many Rajputs, and he was love of freedom. Means he wanted freedom from these Mughals. Okay, so he was also a love of freedom. Let's move forward more. Let's talk about more Akbar win. He conquered Bengal in 1576 and won Gujarat in 1578. And these two winning of Akbar or conquerors of Akbar, it added a milestone in his ruling or in Mughal Empire. Beside the fertile land of Bihar, as we all know, Bihar has a very fertile land. There was a number of ports, seaport, which was the center of foreign trade or which were the important points, important place of foreign trade. They also came under the Mughal. Okay, Akbar conquered Kabul in 1585, Kashmir in 1586, Sindh in 1591, and Kandahar in 1595. With these conquests or with these wins, the Mughal were able to develop a close ties. Means with these wins on Kabul, Kashmir, Sindh, and Kandahar, these the Mughal Empire was able to have a very close relation, a very close ties or very close bonds with Central Asia and Persia region. The Deccan state of Ahmednagar, Bijapur, Golconda, which destroyed the Vijayanagar Empire, they registered diplomatic and military offense of Mughals. Means these Deccan states of Ahmednagar, Bijapur, and Golconda, they registered. It means that they did not want to live with Mughal emperors. Chand Bibi, the brave queen of Ahmednagar, he faced the Mughal army in 1595, and after his defeat, she was forced to sign a treaty. Means she was forced to give up the bearer or his or her territory to Mughals. The the capital of Mirza Hakim, who was Akbar's brother, was Kabul. Okay, let's move forward. Let's talk about Akbar's administration or the official working. Let's talk about the central administration. The emperor was the head of both civil and military administration. Means the emperor or the king, he was the head of civil as well as military administration, and he used to be assisted by many other officials. After emperor, there was a wazir who was or also known as the prime minister. His work or the wazir's work was to look after general administration, means overall administration, and the diwan was to be the charge of the department of finance and revenue. Mir Bakshi was the head of military department, or he was the head of department of military. Sadar Us Sadur, he was the advisor or he assisted the king on religious matter. Let's talk about the central administration. The king or the emperor, he was the head of both civil and military administration, and he was assisted by many other officials. Wazir or the prime minister, he looked after general administration, and there was a diwan who was in charge of finance and revenue department. Mir Bakshi, he was the person who handled the military department, and also Sadar ur Sadur, he was the advisor or he assisted the king or he helped the king on religious matter. Let's move forward. Provincial administration. For administrative purpose, as Akbar's empire was very large, and to administrate it or to look on it properly, the Akbar divided his whole empire into subas or province. Okay, the subas were under the control of governor known as subedar or the provincial government. The subs or provinces, means these subas were further divided into district called sarkars, and then these districts were further divided into small units called parganas, which were under administration of Faujdar, and each pargana was having some number of villages. There was a Mukadam and a Patwari who used to look after village administration. Let's talk about the provincial administration once again. As the Akbar's empire was very big, so for better administration, he divided his empire into provinces or the subas. These subas were under control or they were managed by governor who was known as subedars. These subas were further divided into districts which were known as sarkars, and these districts were then further divided into more smaller units which were known as parganas, and these were looked after by faujdars. Each pargana was then further divided into small villages, or each pargana was having some villages in them, and there was Mukadam and a Patwari who used to look after the village administration. Okay, let's move forward. Let's talk about the Mansabdari system. Akbar created an imperial service based on merit or rank position. It was called Mansabdari system. The Mansab means a rank or position. Akbar has created a imperial service, means he has created a service which was based on a merit and a rank or position. Means there was a system which was based on the merit, rank or system, and this system was called Mansabdari system. Means the system which created by Akbar, sorry, the imperial, what is Mansabdari system? Imperial service. What is Mansabdari system? An imperial service system which is based on merit, rank or position. Okay. The Mansabdar or the holder of this rank, they enjoy certain privilege and had certain function to perform. The person who used to be a Mansabdar, they enjoy or they have to work or to perform certain function, and in return they enjoy some certain privilege or some certain powers. The lowest rank was 10, and while the highest rank was 5,000. The Mansabdar held their appointment directly from emperor. Means Mansabdar can directly meet to the emperor, okay, without having someone in between. The highest rank was reserved for the member of the royal family and the nobles. If we talk about the highest rank, which is 5,000, it was reserved for either a family member or any other important person. The holder of the lowest rank, they receive their salaries in cash. But if we talk about the holder of higher rank, then they receive land grants. Okay, it means they, in terms of salaries, the higher rank holder, they receive land in terms of their salary. Let's talk about the Jagirs. The Mansabdars are allowed to collect land revenue for Jagirs granted to them. Means the emperor has given power to Mansabdar that they can collect land revenue or the land tax from the Jagirs which were allotted to them or which were granted to them. They were granted Jagirs for a temporary period. Means they were granted Jagirs or they were given Jagirs for some time period, and then after that time that same Jagir will transfer to another Mansabdar, and so that there is no ownership given to any Mansabdar. Okay. The chief merit of Mansabdari system was that Akbar was able to recruit persons of great ability for the service of empire. Means the chief merit, means the chief advantage of this Mansabdari system was that Akbar or the emperor, they were able to recruit many good person or the person which were having great ability to serve for the empire. The system worked well under him. During the time period of Akbar, the Mansabdari system worked very well, but after the course of time, the corruption was developed in Mansabdari system. Some of the Mansabdar did not maintain many troops. With the course of time, as to maintain troops for Mansabdar was very compulsory. But with the course of time, Mansabdar did not maintain the required troops or the required army which they were meant to maintain. Okay, let's move forward. Let's talk about the military administration. The Mughal army considered infantry, cavalry, artillery, and navy. Mughal army consisted of four things. First, infantry. Second, cavalry. Third, artillery. And fourth, the navy. The troops were mostly provided by Mansabdar. We know who were Mansabdar are. So the many troops or most troops, they were provided by Mansabdar, as Mansabdar used to maintain troops for army during the war purpose. Mir Bakshi was responsible for maintaining the list of Mansabdar and other officers. Mir Bakshi, he was the responsible person or he was the person who used to maintain or who used to have the list of Mansabdar and other important people from whom troops will join the army. Okay. Fourth, he was also paymaster general of all officers of the state, including Mansabdar. It means he was the paymaster, or he was the person who used to give salary to all officers in the state, which include Mansabdars also. Okay, let's move forward. Let's talk about the land revenue system. Land revenue or the tax was fixed according to the productivity of land. If we talk about the land revenue or the land tax, it was fixed as per the productivity of land, means lower productivity, lower tax, higher productivity, higher tax. And this revenue system was known as Zabt. It was also, this system of land revenue was also known as Todermal Bandbot Bandobast. This land revenue system of during Akbar's rule was also known as Todermal Bandobast because Todermal was the Akbar's revenue minister, or Todermal was the person who used to manage the Akbar's revenue. The revenue was collected by the village headman or the Mukadam or some other local officials called the Zamindar. The revenue was collected by two persons, either by the village headman who was known as Mukadam or by the Zamindar, and then it was given to Todermal. The Zamindar could keep a certain percentage of what they received from the peasant. The Zamindars were having power that they can keep a small amount or a certain percentage from the collection which they have taken from the peasants or the farmers. They started exploiting peasants when sometime rose in the revolt. Due to this advantage to zamindars, they start exploiting or they started harassing the peasant, which was gave which was resulting in revolt. Okay, let's move forward. Akbar's religion idea and mausoleum. Akbar built a Ibadat Khana at Fatehpur Sikri. Here, Akbar held religious discussion with the teachers of different religions. Akbar realized that there is a basic unity among all religions. Let's talk about the Akbar religious idea and mausoleum. Akbar had built Ibadat Khana at Fatehpur Sikri. Here, Akbar used to discuss many religious discussion with preachers of or people of different religion. Akbar realized that, or Akbar has seen that there is a common unity among many different religions. He abolished, or he has removed the jizya tax, which was taken from Hindus. Okay. In 1580, the emperor started a new faith called Din Ilahi, divine religion. In 1580 AD, Akbar has started a new faith or a new belief known as Din Ilahi. It contained that the best principle of different religion. In Din-i-Illahi, it contains the different or the best principle of different religions such as truth, honesty, justice and peace. But no many people, means not many people was attracted towards this. Akbar was the great conqueror and was the able ruler. Akbar was a great warrior, great conqueror, and he was also a good ruler. He was one of the greatest monarchs known as history, or it means that he was the great warrior known in the history. His mausoleum was is situated in Sikandra, which is near to Agra. Okay, so students, with this part 1 of chapter 4 is finished, and after this, and in part 2 we will study the after period of Akbar era. Till then, take care. See you.